There's a significant amount of money has come in, and just so that everyone's clear, there's more money than the workers' comp and the police and fire pension fund. So those are still covered, and then there's still some more money that can be used for this contract that we've already passed. So I would like to move this forward with that line item put in there, $20,000 for legacy communications per the legislation that was passed.
You gotta be kidding.
Mr.
Councilwoman?
You gotta be kidding.
I understand that you talked to the auditor. I talked to all the auditors, including the head auditor. And my understanding is there's no new contracts going to be approved. That's number one. Number two, as I have in the past, I'm talking about in the past, talked to our finance director, there has been no contract signed by our finance director and approved to be dealt with in the budget. Now, it's just me, but if we are, any monies that comes in is supposed and is considered revenue, is for the use of dealing with the city's obligations. And not only do we have obligations in the deficits that he just said we have not been able to deal with, that doesn't mean that even though you've come down a tad bit, I'm gonna say a tad bit, and you're talking about spending $20,000 for legacy communication and putting it in the budget. I'm not for that, and I don't think that you can deal with that going in the budget when you have so many other obligations that you have to deal with. And the revenue is not a windfall. It gives us a breathing period, so to say, or so to speak, where we can do something with the pension, where we can do something with all of this other stuff. And these policemen, police and fire, had we not got the grant, would have been laid off. And the only thing that's saving you now is the fact of these grants, but that is also keeping everybody else from being laid off in the near future. So I am saying, I am putting it on record, putting it in the minutes, that I am in opposition to us putting in $20,000 in the budget for legacy communication, to do filming of the council and all of that.
Okay. Thank you. Councilman Martin, would you like to weigh in on that, please?
We're premature at this point. I think that, number one, we need to wait till the beginning of the year, probably January and February, and see how we are. Number two, I think it's a priority. I came here, got here. I stay at Stanwood and Euclid. The light's been blinking there now for 3 weeks. It's a school right down there. I talked with the service department. He had came out maybe 3 weeks ago. He fixed the light. The next day the light wasn't working. Called him back. There's an underground situation that's deeper than what they can do. That's just one area. We got lights blinking all over the city that need to be fixed. It's a priority. And the infrastructure, when you ride around the city, you kind of know where to dump, where to jump, what hole, this hole. And to me, I see where we could use what we're doing being video. But I think in terms of what we've been dealing with, Our streets are not striped.
Thank you.
Our roads are in bad condition. If we can get an extra $30, $50, $60,000, we need to concentrate on that with the winter around the corner. So it's an issue of priority as far as I'm concerned. I'm not opposed to us being video. It's my hope, and this is a pipe dream, that since the school wants to do something with us, that they kick in to help us cover legacy. But right now, we gotta look at the priorities. You drive through. The other thing that I was thinking is Jack Johnson that was speaking. I'm thinking about the potential development, the way we get some revenue, the Circle East behind there, that's gonna be a development. I know Papa John's has moved in, and I don't know if it went through the Board of Zoning Appeals, but that I have been advocating, and I said it at the last meeting, where is the city's economic development plan?
Okay,
No, I'm not finished.
Beautiful. No, I know.
Okay,
can we stay on 20,000?
Yeah, but let me say this. Let me say this.
Please wind it up.
Just real brief.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We have land. We have location that's valuable, and you guys know about development that hasn't really been shared publicly of developers that want to come in the city and do something. That's some potential revenue.
Okay, good deal.
Okay,
good deal.
so that's why we don't need to. When we're more in a more fiscal sound situation, then maybe we can do a legacy situation in anybody else. But right now, I think it's a premature move.
Okay, thank you.
I've spoken.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Council President, would you like to weigh in on this?
I understand about being respectful, but I'm kind of torn because the residents have a right to know what's going on as well, and they're not being informed. And they're only hearing one side of the story and not hearing from council. Some don't know what's going on in Euclid Superior because they're down 133rd. So how do we answer that question? How do we solve that problem? And so I'm kind of split on that right now.
Okay, so
Pardon me.
with this, right? We passed the legislation months ago, right? So council has already spoken that they want this. This was voted on and passed by council. We were asked to hold up.
What?
We're pulling the trigger on it. So it's already been passed. Now, I'm asking for, and I want council to ask for a line item be put in there for the $20,000 for legacy communication. And when you think of it, think of trade-offs, right?
And what's the trade-off?
Trade-off.
What is the trade-off?
Councilwoman Thomas alluded to, right? And it was beautiful that she alluded to it. We have tons of vendors that we owe.
And
Finance Director, Legacy Communications on that list. We have talked to Legacy Communications. He will sign off that he will let that IOU sit there. If we pass the contract and then execute it, right? So, as a trade-off,